I go fucking...
Yeah, you glaze over.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome back to the cinema sessions with myself, Keith, and...
Seamus. Hi, guys.
Hi, Dubliner's Guide to Cinema. We're back for another episode. Officially out there in the podcast world. And...
We're bona fide now. We're on Spotify.
For anybody that doesn't know, we kind of batch record these, so I don't know how it's going to be doing in the coming weeks when it's coming, but it seems like it's going all right now.
I mean, I'm thinking Mr. Beast he'll be eating our shit by whenever
Quaking
this
in his
fucking
boots.
lands. Yeah.
Quaking in his boots. So the
Who
film...
are these cinema sessions guys? I see him like in a flurry of papers and like fucking pie charts. He's like, who are these cinema sessions guys? Oh my god.
So
However, I have no idea what he sounds. I'm sorry.
He's obviously not a Mr. Beast fan.
Yeah.
But today the film we're going to talk about is words for this film. This film is a disaster film. Quite successful disaster film. I'm not sure of the ins and outs in terms of box office and stuff, but it's certainly a film that I grew up knowing. The film today we're going to talk about is 1997's Volcano.
Well, I have a little bit of information on what you were just talking about there, Keith. So you tell me how well this film did financially. For the uninitiated, Volcano is a disaster action film from 1997, directed by Mick Jackson and written by Jerome Armstrong and Billy Ray, starring Tommy Lee Jones, Anne Heche, Don Cheadle and Gabby Hoffman. The film is set in Los Angeles and follows Office of Emergency Management head Mike Rourke Jones as he tries to protect the city when a volcano unexpectedly erupts beneath the La Brea tar pits, threatening to engulf the surrounding urban area in lava and destruction. The film has a 5.6 rating on IMDb with a Metacritic critic score of 54% and a user score of 5.8. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a critic score of 49% and an audience score of 32%. Volcano grossed approximately 122.8 million worldwide against a production budget of around 90 million, so it was not financially lucrative. On a personal note, folks, my private life is in a complete shambles and I'm hanging on by the barest of threads. Now, I don't want to do, I think in American politics they call this an October or November surprise or something like that. I am structuring this purposefully because I think I can anticipate what you're going to say about the film. So I will give some background on my take of it.
Okay, yeah.
I saw it a lot on TV when I presumably rented it from, the local fucking Movie Magic or whatever. That's what it was called. Whenever it was released on
Maybe
video.
on the south side it was Extravision when I...
we didn't have an Extravision. Sorry, there was one down in Mines. Extravision was countrywide. We had a Movie Magic and then a Chartbusters moved in, but it was a Movie Magic in the kind of local area there. There used to be like 3 or 4 of them. God be with them days. It's our one left in the entire continent to Europe now, yeah. And I liked it well enough, I would say. I don't think it was spectacular, but it was something I could watch again and again. About 7 or 8 years ago, kind of soon after I moved back here, I watched it. Must have been on Netflix or something. I remember like, that was pretty good. Like the way it was filmed was very clear, blah, blah, blah. And then I mentioned that to a friend of mine and he was like, you're talking about the film's a fucking piece of shit. And then I didn't watch it for a long time and I watched it for this. And at the risk of being a bit too mild on it, I'm a lot closer to my friend's opinion on it than I am to... I don't think the film is very good. I wouldn't call it a piece of shit or anything, but I don't think it's very good. And there's a reason for me I don't have a nostalgic leaning towards it, even though I watched it a lot. I think I watched Dante's Peak, which is sitting behind you. I don't actually have a copy of Volcano, which maybe says something. I think I preferred Dante's Peak at the time, and I haven't rewatched it recently enough, but I think I probably still do. I'm not a huge fan, and I have come not to glorify this film, but to bury it, I think. What's your relationship with the film, Keith?
My relationship with the film is something that you've definitely heard me say before, but it's a Sky One film. Because this was many a time that I sat down and watched it live in the room as it was happening on TV.
You couldn't pause it. You couldn't choose something
you couldn't
else.
record. You couldn't record it. You couldn't fast forward it.
Yeah.
But I love this film.
Wow.
I don't think you were expecting that.
I know. I'm intrigued.
I absolutely adore this film for the exact reason as your mate hates it. It is a piece of fucking shit, and I love every minute of it. This, like we've spoken in the past about the here lads moment.
Yes.
I think for me, within the first 10 seconds of this film is the here lads moment, and that gives me the freedom then to just switch off and enjoy the next hour and 40 minutes. I swear to God, because I remember, because when I first saw it, I was very young. I might have been 11, 12, something in and around that range. So a lot of the things that happened in the film when I first saw it, which gives me such fond memories of the film, is I was so taken aback by how dramatic it all is and how selfless all the people that are fucking dying ridiculously are, and that is just such a fond memory for me. But even re-watching it for the purposes of this, and I was sitting there going, oh my fucking God, because previous to this, it might be 15 years since I've seen it, but I have such clear memories of it in terms of how it made me feel, rather than what's actually being portrayed on screen. But even after watching it a couple of times in the lead up to this, I am definitely in your friend's camp. It is fucking god awful in so many ways, but I fucking love it.
Fascinating. I would say my problem with it, and I'm genuinely, I think, gonna have to hear you out to try and get on your level. I just see like a film made by basically the wrong director. I think that's really my main issue with it, and I want to make very clear, because his name is Mick. That's his name, Mick Jackson. Are you familiar with stuff he'd done before?
The Bodyguard is about it.
Yeah. He directed it was a BBC thing. It was kind of a mini series. It was 2 episodes called Threads, which is it's hard to describe, but it's like a docudrama about what would actually happen if there were a nuclear war. It's set, I think, in Sheffield, and it kind of follows things from like the normal person's point of view.
I've heard about this.
Yeah.
Was it you that told me about this?
I think it must have been, yeah. I will tell anyone about it. I am not exaggerating when I say I have maybe seen it 3 or 4 times, and every time I've watched it, it's given me nightmares. It is absolutely earth-shatteringly depressing, frightening. It's incredible. His career after that, he went to fucking Hollywood, and he made LA Story, which is a film that was like kind of talked about a lot at the time, but I think it's kind of faded into the background. And then The Bodyguard, which is like, how the fuck did he end up directing that? And it's a film I've seen once and I remember quite liking, but in terms of it's a big glossy, Hollywood romance kind of.
And it also gave us one of the greatest songs ever made.
Ever made, yeah. Kevin Costner is still a viable actor, I'd say. On the back, he made a load of great films around that time, but that was absolutely. I think it was like
that kept him very much in the mainstream.
Yeah, it's probably we're maybe talking out our holes because he had Dances with Wolves around the same time, but that was such a hit. I think that might have been like
Field
the
of Dreams
biggest film of the year. Like, but Bodyguard was a cultural phenomenon. Like, he was saying he was still like trying to get sequels done for it and all this, I think, recently enough. But somehow Mick Jackson ended up directing it. So what I find kind of funny is now Threads is a BBC production. It doesn't have a huge budget, but it's a lot closer to this than like The Bodyguard is. And The Bodyguard is, as I remember it, I saw it ages ago, a very well put together film. I think this film, the way it's put together, is, I'm just like, come on, man, fucking put a bit of effort into it. Like, Jesus Christ. It starts off with, I couldn't stop thinking about Die Hard with a Vengeance with the opening, because it's essentially the same opening, except it's fucking terrible. Die Hard with a Vengeance.
I literally thought that, rewatching it last night, and And it's just people going about their day, but it's a different, like obviously in New York, it's a very different setting. But you have like the Malibu beach places, and they're putting towels down.
Like the shots themselves, they have some cutaways of the camera of kind of special effect shots, like the camera going beneath the ground to
between
show,
the crevice and the thing.
Yeah, which I think you'd need there.
Yeah.
I don't know how well done they are, but I did find myself just going like, because they have the radio playing over it, and I was like, the shots are about as good as the Die Hard ones.
Because I mean, obviously, I said this film is a piece of shit, but I do think there is some good things in it. And one thing that I think it does very well, Jordan, this thing is the different radio channels talking over each other.
Yeah,
because it gives you such a sense of it's just a normal day, but there's chaos. There's about to erupt.
The radio was okay.
A better way to put it.
Yeah, I did. I was watching it, and I was because I'm like, why is the Die Hard one like one of my favorite sequences nearly ever, and this fucking is terrible? Because I was like, the radio stuff is okay. It's the music, and I was like, yeah, the music's a real piece of shit. And then who comes up? Music by Alan Silvestri, like the fucking one of the best. And I was like, oh, maybe they had another song. Because I was like, if they played like Summer in the City over this would be good, like, or at least be a lot better. Give it more character. It just kind of has no character.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
With the way that they do it, and they were setting up a day in the life. This strikes to me now as something of they revised the script a shitload, but didn't revise it one revision too much. The way they set it up is, and the way I kind of remember this is one day in LA. Like, people wake up in the morning, and by the time they go to bed, the fucking volcano's been taken care of. They don't do that. Now, I'm skipping mad ahead here, but they essentially go to bed. You don't literally see people in bed, but they break up that rhythm of it being one day, which I thought was a big blunder. I was like, come on, what's this shit like of fucking...
It's about 48 hours, 72 hours.
It's too long. Like, there's something about... There's a movie from Hong Kong, the name escapes me, about people trapped on an island in a typhoon. And it was great, and it was real atmospheric, and the guy's a hitman, he can't get off the island. I was like, this is great. And then like an hour into it, the typhoon dies down, and he leaves the island. I was like, what the fuck? The film complete, like, I was actually teaching the students the expression jump the shark. And what a jump the shark is, for anyone who doesn't know, it's like, it's very popular now online, but it's like usually for a TV show, but I think you can use it for a movie. It's specifically for me when the show or TV or movie makes a creative decision that completely derails everything. And with Volcano, it's not that big of a deal, but it does undercut a lot of what I think could have been a great atmosphere, in a sense of like that great sense in Die Hard of, fuck man, we just woke up this morning and this is the worst day ever. Whereas with this, it kind of affects the rhythm. So for me, it's a bad start though, to bring it back to the scene. Like, I'm just like, come on, man.
So obviously, essentially, what happens is there's an earthquake hits, and then we're quickly introduced to Tommy Lee Jones, Mike Rourke character, and his daughter.
Yeah. Which is
now here we go. Remember I said very early on the here moment kicks in. So what happens is, I can't remember if this is before or after the earthquake, but Mike Rourke, Tommy Lee Jones character, is cooking eggs, and he lets them fall and calls the dog over to eat them.
Do you know this bothered me as well? Yeah.
And that dog would not have gone within 5 feet of that.
I was thinking the same. I'm like, sure, that dog will burn himself on that fucking frying pan.
But dogs don't have, like, do you ever see like a child see an iron and he wants to touch it? Dogs don't have that. Yeah. They stay away from things that will hurt them. And I wouldn't mind,
but Tommy Lee Jones dropped it because it was too fucking hot.
I know,
like, what are you playing at, you cunt? Fucking poor dog. Like,
Skippy, going in.
Yeah, and he immediately called
that was the here lads moment for me.
Yeah.
And but it didn't put me off the rest of the film. It made me go, okay, I know what I'm in for now. So I can just turn my brain off a bit, and I can just...
Yeah, it was, like, just to talk about kind of the scene in general, it is the typical setup for, like, this is very common in the 90s. The parents are separated, the wife is off screen, and this one, he's a single dad, you know, he's upbeat, but he's kind of trying his best. They don't want to make a big thing of it, but it's difficult. His daughter is... I actually like that actress because she was in a few films at the time. Gabby Hoffman's her name.
Is she in Doubtfire?
I think she was one of the kids. Do you know what I know her from? And it's a completely forgotten film, but it was called Now and Then. I'm pretty sure. Her, Christina Ricci, and two other kind of actresses, like younger someone else turned out kind of famous, I think. And then they were played by older, like Demi Moore, and I think the one Trump threatened to fucking take away, Rosie O'Donnell, I think was in it. And so I kind of have good memories of her. Like I was like, I like that film. She was in that. She was in some other stuff. And she is so fucking annoying in this. Now she's not as annoying as the fucking little bastard kid ever.
No, we'll get on to him. We'll get on to him because I have some issues. I genuinely have some issues with him.
Holy sweet God,
But
yeah.
One thing, and again, this pisses me off because I think she's miscast. Because I don't actually know what age she is, but she's definitely not 13.
She doesn't look it now.
No, she's minimum. I don't know what age she is, but she's minimum 16, and she's clearly that age.
She looks it, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what happens is the earthquake happens. Tommy Lee Jones has to go, and he's on vacation because he's with his daughter, and he has to fire himself into work. And
but he loves it. He's a workaholic.
Yes, he is, and he loves
he's
it.
An American man with a fucking.
But all this stuff.
Shirt.
But he gets into an argument with his daughter about how she needs a babysitter. Mm-hmm. So I'm the whole time going, that child clearly doesn't need a babysitter.
Well, it's funny. I hadn't really noticed the she's too old thing. I completely agree with you, but maybe I picked up on it subconsciously because I was like, is she a bit kind of like, Jesus Christ, what's the PC way? I was like, is she a bit touch like? Does she have developmental problems?
Oh, yeah,
why does she need a babysitter? And I think it's because she read older subconsciously for me than she. If she looked 13, I'd be like, well, of course. But she doesn't look like she needs one.
She looks like she's.
Yeah, is she having problems?
She has a fake ID and she's
yeah.
out at the weekend. Like that's what she looks like.
Yeah.
And then obviously he organises the babysitter, and then it rushes into this kind of chaotic. We're meeting a lot of characters here. Some that are important to the rest of the film, and some that aren't very much so.
They lucky they got Don Cheadle, or else the
He's
character,
very good in this.
yeah, who's kind of they try and set up a dynamic of he's kind of nipping at Tommy Lee Jones's heels. He wants his job, but it's just kind of like not very committed to, and it doesn't really go. It's not as it's fine. Like it's just like
But see, one thing I would say about Cheadle is he's quite good playing this kind of. Do you know what I mean?
No, if it weren't him, God knows. We'll just keep talking there, folks. Someone's headphones fell off. No, it's fine, I would say. It's just, he doesn't have much to play with. Like, the fact that there's anything to it at all. To be honest, everyone in it, Tommy Lee Jones, Don Cheadle, Anne Heche, like, kind of all the big adult characters are fine, but they don't have anything to play or anything to do. Like Tommy Lee Jones is like the thing with the eggs is very lame. Like, you know, whatever about, you know, dog safety or whatever, you're just like, well, what is it? Like, what it's just business. It's just kind of shtick. Like, I can imagine Tommy Lee Jones is apparently a real arsehole, kind of, well, what's the character? Oh, well, he's to mind her and she's a pain in the ass, but like, he doesn't mind it. Like, that's it. That's the character. Oh, he's a workaholic. All right, where's my check? And
yeah. Because I mean, there's a lot of points in this film where you're like, because there's moments where Tommy Lee Jones is quite good in his delivery of certain things, but it's happening in the most ridiculous kind of ways. Or do you know what I mean? Like, because obviously in this scene, it's just like it's all very. We're meeting a lot of characters here. Do you know what I mean? And then we meet the Stan, the severely nicotine addicted Metro man,
who's played by a great actor, John Carroll Lynch.
He's fantastic. He's fantastic in just about everything that he's in.
Yeah, for me, he'll always be the Zodiac, or the alleged Zodiac from Zodiac.
And not only that, he's fantastic in The Founder. He's fantastic in Crazy Stupid Love. He's fantastic in just about everything he's in. Actor, and I think he's quite good in this as well.
He is. He doesn't have much to do, but actually, he'd be one of the people I think actually kind of gets something. Like you sense there's more of a character to him. And actually, do you know what? Sorry, I just don't want to gloss over because she really impressed me when I watched it. I can't remember. I don't know the actress's name, but she plays the Asian doctor. Her character actually has little moments that made her stand out, and I was like, I wished she were in it more. If you remember, they set her up. She's treating like a gunshot victim.
Yeah.
And the earthquake hits, and she's the one who reaches across for the plug so it doesn't fall out. So you it's just a little moment, but you're like, okay, this is someone who keeps their head in an emergency.
Yeah.
And then later, again, we're kind of jumping around, but the thing with the burn victim, she notices this is not a burn from steam. This is something else. She's the person who's kind of like working a bit harder to put, because Tommy Lee Jones is like, put that fire out, do this, do that. She is actually someone who's kind of taken a step back and going, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And she's kind of quietly in control. I like the way she played it. She's
quite good. Yeah,
she brought something more to it than I think was really there.
So as you're saying about the Steam born victim, what happens is all the chaos is going on from the earthquake that morning, and Tommy Lee Jones and a couple of them, I'm fairly sure, go down to MacArthur Park, I think. So basically we meet Stan, the character that we've met just to see him previously.
Yeah.
He meets him because the metro is being built under MacArthur Park.
Yeah.
So that's causing, and so they're wondering what's going on here. Like,
I was wondering because I hit the mic stand. Fuck it somehow happened. I don't know. I didn't know that LA, and I know why would I know, but I didn't know it had an underground metro.
It does.
Yeah.
But it has it's like, because when you think of metros, you think of New York or London, and it's like it doesn't have one of them. It has like the equivalent of the Lewis Underground.
Okay, very limited kind of. Yeah, it means it's limited.
The Lewis, the Lewis is above ground. Train.
It's like a tram here in Dublin, basically. Yeah, they do introduce him in a nice scene where they're all betting on where the epicenter of the thing is, and you kind of get a feeling of Men at Work and all this. I will say she's someone I really remembered from it. She's an actress I always liked. She left us far too soon, about 3 years ago. I was watching this last night for Anne Heche's character's introduction, and it is so fucking lame. There's two people
she comes in like a rock star.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the worst of both worlds because there's these two Egypts who we don't even know arguing about who'll be on camera, and Anna H just walks in a generic kind of mid shot, and it's like something like, "Hey guys, you missed me." It's like, and then she's dressed in like a leather jacket, and she's just kind of like fucking swaggering up to the thing.
Yeah, and you weren't going to put her on camera, were you? Don't worry about it. And
she just comes off as like, she doesn't. It could have been unlikable. I think Anne Heche was always a very likable actress.
Because I think, again, like as I said, even though this film shouldn't work, even though I love it, it shouldn't work on so many levels. Anne Heche and the way she plays this character, I think is very good. I think she's probably misused at times, but I just believe that she's somehow like some sort of fucking maverick geologist.
It's like her kind of charisma carries it. This was, I think, one of her big kind of breakout roles. She had a very good 2 years. For anyone who doesn't know, Anne Heche in the late 90s was kind of an up and coming actress. Then she started a gay relationship with Ellen DeGeneres, who's still incredibly famous. And it is unquestionable, because I lived through it at the time. It's my lived experience, folks. Her career fucking tanked after that. I remember reading reviews for a film she did after this called 6 Days, 7 Nights with Harrison Ford. Like in that Total Film magazine I was mentioning about. They said, it's a little hard to take her seriously falling for a man when she's in a lesbian relationship. Like, you'd be fucking killed.
It's called acting, folks.
You'd be fucking hanged if you said that today. Like, Jesus Christ. It really did fuck up her career, and she was whenever she showed up in Anton, I always really liked her. She has nothing to do here. When I think about it now, I can kind of see the campy value in like her, kind of swaggering up as if this is a cool way to introduce, like the mismatch of what the film thinks it's doing.
Yeah.
But it does hurt. I find he's obviously an excellent director with very good taste, but I found his work here very lazy, Mick Jackson. I'll get into it maybe a bit more later, but isn't someone. There's a handful of shots that are like obviously thought out and very well done in the film, and then there's a million of them that are like, come on, man, fucking give her a better introduction, do something more here with this. And that was one of those moments that I was like, come on, this should be. She's the right actress for what the role they intended.
Yeah.
They didn't write it that way, or they didn't direct it. I think the writing, to be fair to the director, was more of an issue there.
Yeah. So what's happening then at MacArthur Park is Mike, Tommy Lee Jones' character, is trying to find out what's after happening and what's going on, because what's happened is, but this is actually something that I wanted to point out that was very fucking annoying to me as well, is the angry black woman shouting at the workmen.
Oh yeah,
they're clearly doing a job, and she's coming over, but it's just that cliche of the angry black woman. This fucking
Do you know
what I mean?
I think that's kind of a cliche that she's the one giving the parking tickets. I don't know if she's necessarily a police officer. I think she kind of is, though.
Well, I don't know. I don't know, because America do have traffic wardens.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
true. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Write in the comments and tell us, folks. Yeah, and then I do remember,
Sweating for the
there's
comment.
they that real, like, this is what I mean, like the guy directed like the most realistic scary film I've ever seen, and then at the end of that scene where these guys were burned up down in the thing, and you know one guy made it up, and the guy goes like, what happened, what happened to the other guys? He goes, burned up, and then he like slowly turns to the camera and you see the other side of his face is burnt, and I think the music nearly literally goes dun 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 dun, and you're like, oh, you fuck off. Like that is the kind of thing I can picture like 12-year-olds in the cinema at the time going like, oh, come on.
Now, one thing that then happens, right? They're talking about Tommy Lee Jones wants to shut everything down. He wants to shut the gas off. He wants to, and they're all arguing, that's 20,000 people, that's this, that, and the other thing. Or there's 30,000 people that need to get home. I'm not shutting this metro down. So it's kind of, nobody's listening to Tommy. It's almost like the guy at the start of the sci-fi film that says the robots are going to kill us all.
Yeah, well, and
nobody's listening.
I think the major touchstone is that's exactly right. Like Dante's Peak is the whole movie is that because the volcano doesn't explode till the very end in that. I think isn't the mayor from Jaws, isn't that the kind of touchstone here? But they don't really commit to it because Tommy Lee Jones is basic. Anne Heche is the one who's like, this might be lava. But Tommy Lee Jones is like, I don't know.
But this is why again that someone shouldn't enjoy this film. It's because what happens. I'll jump a bit ahead, but what happens here is when Anne Heche, after she's been down there herself, explains to Tommy. I was about to say Tommy Tiernan, explains to Tommy Lee Jones that this is magma. This is what's happening. Like there's bad things about to happen. He's like, lava. So he's then turned into how he was treated 15 minutes ago.
Yeah,
like,
they're kind of neither fish nor fowl. A lot of the characters, they're not quite sure. And it's like it's just the script was not quite there. I think that's really the main kind of issue with it because you have things like when you and I are talking about it now, you'd be like, well, who's the guy? Who's the arsehole? Because the mayor in Jaws is ultimately remorseful at the end, but he is the guy who's like, look, I know there's a problem. Whereas in this film, they're all like working stiffs who are just like, come on, man, I don't need the fucking hassle. And you're like, yeah, he's right. Yeah. And that could be an interesting dynamic, but they don't make it interesting.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, and you know, like, come on, this is so ridiculous. I will give them some points the way they introduced the idea of where she goes, that lake is 5 degrees hotter than it was yesterday. It takes a geological event. And she's like, I don't know, magma.
No, but it's not even that because there is a really interesting few lines of dialogue here because she says, do you know what has to happen for 1 million litres of water to increase by that? Because Tommy Lee Jones goes, oh, well, it's a hot day. Because he's obviously just fucking stupid in terms of the science of geology.
That little interaction, that works.
That's really good.
Yeah, and it kind of builds the plausibility of it as well. Because you're like, oh yeah, when you put it that way.
Because she explains it. Because she goes like, we live on tectonic plates. They move, and when they do this,
you would imagine Tommy Lee Jones would know that, but he's being patient with her.
Exactly, yeah. But then what he doesn't know is sometimes they can go like this. And at one stage, and I purposely haven't Google this to find out. I don't know if that's true or not. Something tells me it's not.
Who cares? Yeah. You know what I mean? I think am I remembering right? They seem to, again, the lack of commitment in this film, they seem to be hinting at some kind of a romance with them. If you remember in the scene where they're introduced,
which again we've spoken about in previous podcasts, like the fucking age difference is monumental.
She looks like a sexy little 25-year-old, and he looks like Tommy Lee Jones, who came out of his.
Tommy Lee Jones was in a film called Finest Kind about 2 years ago, and he looks practically the same. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
He was. I've seen him in stuff from like the 70s, and he just looks like.
He had that roast beef face. He always had them wrinkles.
He had an old man kind of, like we will talk about Patricia Clarkson soon, who always had a kind of a mature, she's a very good looking woman. She always had a kind of mature look. He just always had that. And he's like 23 years older than Anne Heche. She was like 28.
And the fact that they're constantly alluding to, throughout the film, it's constantly alluded to. Yeah. But I think that's more of the time than it is, because maybe they didn't want to make it a romance thing, but they kind of needed it.
Well, at the time, you'd always hear like behind the scenes of the studio insisted on a romance, or the women would watch it. And I think in the scene where they meet each other, they do a thing where she makes kind of like she's kind of snapping back at the other guy, like, the guy's like, you want to do this, but then you're like, what are they even arguing? Like, I can't remember what they're arguing about, which
because
is a problem,
she went mad at him over something, because she's upset. Anne Heche's character is upset with the Metro guy Stan.
Yeah,
because she's completely against the idea of
the metro
building tunnels underneath fucking apparently geological, like,
yeah, so it's unstable or whatever. Yeah, and it's just like, what are they even arguing about? But she makes some comment to the guy about, like, you know, here's a comment that shows him a pain in the ass, and it cuts to Tommy Lee Jones, like, you know, the best actor ever, and even him, you can see he's kind of like, I'll really force a laugh. It seems forced to laugh because it's like he likes her. It's like, of course he fucking likes her. It's Anne Heche. She's 28 years old. He's a fucking man, you know. Get the fuck out of here. So, but they're trying to build that. Is it the scene later though, where it's this? I think it's the same scene as the tectonic plates, where Anne Heche's friend says to her, "But you like him though."
Yeah.
And for fuck's sake, like, you're just like, what? I remember even at the time being like, come on now.
Because,
what the fuck?
The other scientist that says, but you like him though.
She'd be more age appropriate.
That's true, yeah. But not only that, I got some satisfaction about what we're about to get into now. Because obviously very quickly, because she's been told that, because Anne Heche wants to go down and have a look for herself, and she's been told no by everybody. So the two of them agree to meet before everybody gets up. This is the first point where you're talking.
Yeah, where we lose the sense of the single day.
Yeah, because the turn is pick me up before and bring the coffee. And then obviously they go down into the tunnel exactly where the guys got burnt.
Yeah, it brings up something that annoys me about the film is, I think, like, the guys who initially are burned up go down. Tommy Lee Jones goes down. And then they go down to the same fucking place. They just keep reusing the same, because it is MacArthur Park. And whatever the name of it, it's Wilshire Boulevard or whatever. It's a big famous street. It's a big problem I have with the film is they just keep reusing the same sets or the same locations. I'm like, come on, lads.
But it's a much different, like, when Tommy Lee Jones and Michael Rispoli, the other character, they go down and then more to do, even if that was a Steam, whatever pocket or whatever that they're saying that it might be, they get so close to that. There is no way in Christ that you would get that close to that and not realise that you're on fucking fire. Yeah, and then it gets to Tommy Lee Jones, he goes, I'm fucking melting. And then he goes, oh, so am I.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Or was it the rats have, like, literally boiled to death? They're just standing there, like, and
they're looking at it and they go further, they go closer.
They started sweating like about 10 fucking years ago. Like, it's a bit ridiculous.
But obviously then Anne Heche does go down with the other scientists, and then the second earthquake hits. Yeah. And again, one of them, this film has a couple of them, a fucking ridiculously, I don't know if over the top is the right way to put it, but obviously the crevice where the steam is rising from, the earthquake happens. We see Tommy Lee Jones and his daughter wake up from their slumber and trying to keep her safe and stuff, which gets them to leave the house. But what happens is the crevice in the tunnel opens. And then the science, not the Anne Heche character, falls down into the crevice, and it's one of the Israel. Help me! And the flames.
I do actually remember. I think her screams were quite good. Like there was,
but it's not even. But it's the fact that she could hold on when because what they choose to do, which is a bad directing, is they show us what's actually going on down the hole. So that makes you go, well, there's no fucking way in hell you're holding on. You're gone, and so's Anne Heche for trying to save you.
Yeah, I just don't know that your man, like, when it's not really your genre, like, say what you will about, like, Roland Emmerich, who's kind of the king of this genre, like, this is ridiculous or this or that, but he knows, like, if you buy into his films, some of them are good, some of them are fucking god awful now, even the disasters, but it's his genre, and he's, you know, it's like an action director. It's like, look, I know what I'm doing. This guy has this gun here. This guy does this. When it's someone who's not comfortable with the genre, they make mistakes like that, I find. And I just think that Mick Jackson was in the wrong kind of wheelhouse, like, because the
disaster movies are very hard. Even the old school ones, like you remember Poseidon or the Tower and Inferno, like, they're a very difficult thing to get right. Because if you really think about it, how many of them do you go, that's a seminal disaster movie? Like, do you know what I mean?
True, yeah. Well, they're
especially in the modern age, because in the modern age, genre, a lot of them, in the modern age, like, I know Tommy Lee Jones at this time would have been a massive actor, but he would have been an actor. Whereas now you have the likes of, Skyscraper with The Rock, and it's some.
True, yeah, we
Do you
don't
know what I mean?
have the,
We don't have the Dante's Peak with Pierce Brosnan. We don't have Tommy Lee Jones, who's a proper actor.
Yeah.
In this impossible situation.
Well, you'd expect he'd be solving the situation with his brains as opposed to, fucking whatever. Jesus, that skyscraper film, I'd forgotten it existed. Christ, yeah. And nearly, didn't he? He did make a disaster. Yeah, he was in a disaster film called San Andreas, wasn't he?
That's the one.
Never saw it, yeah.
That's crap
Skyscraper,
as
I saw. Skyscraper, I was about to say, is it more, I genuinely can't remember. I think it was a Die Hard knockoff or whatever the fuck.
Something along those lines. He's one leg or something like that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yes. He's just not in his comfort zone, I would say. And we've actually, I don't know why this sprang to mind, but we've completely forgotten about, as the movie basically does, a character. So the doctor I mentioned, her boyfriend is some real estate
fucking
developer.
John, why is he in this?
Yeah, it's just there so they can blow up that building at the end and maybe you don't feel so guilty or something.
The way they blow up the building at the end, you do not need him.
God awful, yeah.
But you don't need him.
And he's such a horrible cliche. Like, there's
because you see him in the very opening scene when they're protesting about the metro being extended into Beverly Hills.
Yeah, he's on the wrong side of that argument.
And he's having an argument with your woman saying, well, we clean all your houses, how we don't drive, how are we meant to get here? Well, the buses run twice a day and all this shit, like. And he's obviously unlikable, but then he disappears.
Yeah,
you don't see him again until
why waste time? So he's set up as the fiance or something
of the doctor,
yeah, which is completely unbelievable because like he literally says at one point it's something like, I don't want you around these people. Like,
because they're looking down onto the posh hospital in LA.
Yeah.
Cedar Sinai.
Yeah, and like, look, for folks at home, I know there's people like that in real life, but it's a fucking movie and you want someone who isn't a fucking complete, like, mustache twirling villainous gobshite in that role. Like, I read online that he was supposed to be in the building at the end when it blew up. So that would have been some kind of resolution to the whether he was just in there going like, well, at least I got my building.
Yeah.
That'd be a good sign up. Or whether, because you wouldn't dump them. So in my mind, he's kind of in there like, oh, my life's over, fuck it, whatever. It would have been really funny if he was in there going, at least my precious building survived and he got blown up. So, but it's very haphazard.
Yeah, but I mean, because like I said, my missus watched it and went, oh, it's whoever from Sex and the City.
Because he was my Big Fat Greek Wedding as well.
But she knows him from Sex and the City.
Right.
And then it was literally only because she pointed that out that I even realised that he's a notable actor.
Yeah, I was I half recognised that guy, and then I heard that. I was like, fuck. To be fair, she's much better, but the Asian doctor kind of disappears as well. She's kind of there.
She drifts in and out, because what's about to happen here, I
would have liked more from her.
But what's about to happen here is... obviously, the second earthquake has happened. The fucking scientist has gone down the crevice. And so we see Tommy Lee Jones, and it appears, it's not really spelled out very clearly, but it appears like he's bringing him and his daughter to the office of the OEM.
That's what I assume.
And that's when, obviously, we really get into it and all hell breaks loose.
Shit hits the fan.
So that's where the doctor is reintroduced, because she's driving, and then we actually see the start of the eruption and the lava bomb.
Yeah.
Lands on the back of the fire truck.
The effects on the
and it's very
bombs.
funny because I don't know why, because it looks real, but there's something very comical about when the fire truck flips and then the guy just...
there's some fucking terrible stuff. There's some good effects in the film, like
that's one thing I wanted to know. The lava is very good.
Lava's very good. The lava bombs are fucking terrible. Actually, again, I hit the microphone, folks. Sorry, we're jumping ahead, but I was like this because you have to set up that Anne Heche and Tommy Lee Jones are like smarter than everyone else. They're like I don't know if there's a good phrase for it, but do you know the way like there's the detectives, in the murder scene, and the normal cops are like, probably his wife did it, and then there's the cool, Matthew McConaughey detective smoking a cigarette is like, no, you're not looking deep enough. That's who they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And they give Anne Heche the most laughable moment. There's like a lava bomb going.
About to land on the...
and everyone's like, oh, and she goes, no, wait. Look at it and see where it's going. And you're like, this is your fucking plan for making her the smartest, the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Because, do you know what I just think it's funny? The reason it's funny is because what happens is all the firemen start moving, right? But they move to one spot. So they haven't moved a lot. They all wrap themselves around the car. Yeah. And then she goes, ah! She tells them to stop moving after they've moved. And then they leave. And then it hits the car. Do you know what I mean?
But it's so like if they should have just made up some bullshit like, they fucking they push the air and it makes they always turn right. It's something like.
But you're dead right, because even think about it this way: what the fuck does a fucking geologist who works for the city in LA know about lava bombs?
Yeah, what would she know?
To be fair, there is a line again, right? We're jumping around a lot.
Yeah, whatever. It's all gone to hell at this point.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you've seen it, it's ridiculous. We will kind of weave it back in.
We'll try. Yeah.
There's a part where they're obviously fighting the lava flowing down Wilshire Boulevard, and she goes, "If you can get loads of water at once," that's what they did in Iceland. And then it's like, okay.
That was I was about to bring that up actually, because I'm like, that at least shows she's
researched this stuff.
Yeah, she's useful. Like she has something to contribute here. I would wonder at the efficacy of that plan though. It seems a bit.
Right, so let's kind of bring it back to get to there, right? So obviously then we see Tommy Lee Jones, Mike, and his daughter driving down the road. So obviously that's when
this is where she gets really annoying, the daughter.
Oh, stop! Because there's a couple of things that happen here, like I fucking hate it. And I kept and I had this argument. So what happens is, so we've seen the lava bomb hit the fire truck. The doctor pulls over, is trying to help people, and we see all the storm drains. And the man covers explode.
I have to point out what a fuck up it is that one of those the fucking sewer lid things doesn't land on his car. I was like,
but they have a shot, but they have a shot where it's behind the car. Yeah, and it lands just next to the back wheel.
And it's like, come on, man, fucking. This is what I mean. Like, he's not in his wheelhouse. Roland Emmerich would have been like, come on, lads, get that fucking thing on the car. What are we doing?
No, because then there's another shot.
I think when there's rocks land on it.
So the rocks land on the car.
That's weak sauce, man. Yeah,
I know what I mean, but they had the opportunity to let that land on it. Like.
When they were filming that, would they not go, hang on, wouldn't one of the fucking things be better? This scene, there's actually an effective moment in that scene where the sound builds up really loud and then it cuts to absolute silence. That was very, very good. Practically every other creative decision made in that scene. My particular least favorite is the fucking journalist in the car on his phone.
Constantly.
Oh, and he's just like, shit. Now...
but see, the thing that's annoying...
Oh my God, there's a fireman trapped in the fire.
But obviously what's happening is, you can kind of forgive it, because all he's doing is explaining what's on screen.
Yeah.
That we as the audience are seeing.
Yeah.
But you can kind of forgive it because you know that he's a journalist and he's telling the news.
You can kind of tie a line of like it being fairly real, like is what he would do.
But here's what happens, and this is what makes me hate Mike's daughter, right? Tommy Lee Jones' character's daughter, is they stop the car, he sees the doctor needs help managing a few of the people, right? Firemen. And he gets out of the car and says, just honk the horn. And yada, 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 he goes over and he's helping them, right? She gets out of the car as the lava is flowing now, okay? So it's coming down, and we'll get into this, but the speed in which this lava is moving compared to different parts of this film, all of a sudden it's a real emergency. We have to get out of the way to, hang on, we've spent 15 minutes here and we haven't moved, and the lava has apparently slowed down. But that's an aside.
Yeah.
But so he's up, he's trying to save the guy who's trapped in the fire brigade, and he sees that his daughter is
wandering aimlessly.
She stops. She gets out of the car, and at this very point, she has any amount of space to run into and get away from this lava. But, and it's kind of explained, but I don't believe that a 13-year-old is going to stand there staring at the lava. Right?
Yeah.
So then what happens is Tommy Lee Jones makes the decision to, I'm going to help me daughter. You can wait. To the fella in the which could be played as a real hard decision.
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? Obviously, if it's a stranger and your daughter, you're going to pick your daughter. Yeah. But they could have made it a bit, because all he does is he goes, well, and he just runs over.
Well, you don't even see the guy's face in the thing.
No, he's covered
up. Any kind of a character of him. Yeah.
Because then what happens is, fucking all of a sudden, Tommy Lee Jones and his daughter are trapped because a fucking tree is falling down and they're boxed in. So then he can't go anywhere, right? So then they have to do this fucking ridiculous thing of, and it takes them too long. Just get up in the car and go. You don't have to stop and fucking make this much of an issue.
Yeah.
So obviously they get to safety because Tommy Lee Jones has saved the day. And then another fireman jumps into the fire truck that Tommy Lee Jones left, and the lava is flowing and it fucking kills the two of them.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh no, 2 fire guys."
Yeah, the journalist guy, yeah. Oh my God, they're just burning alive.
But then it just cuts back to Tommy Lee Jones and it's kind of like, and then it's back, you're onto something else then. Like,
yeah.
He essentially killed that man. Yeah. And obviously it's because he saved his daughter. Yeah. But I don't think they play on that enough.
No, it was as if they didn't really think the logic of it through. Yeah. Like, this is what's happening, or they're like, oh, we don't have time for that.
Because any father in the world would.
Mm-hmm. That's the kind of thing Emmerich is good at. Like, he would have had shots of the guy in there. They would have had some kind of. He would have had to say, "I'm sorry." Yeah, something. And
then, okay, we can relate. And all of a sudden, that's really good.
Yeah.
So it takes about a 3-minute segment of the film, and it's fucking nonsense.
Knows, you know I noticed now when I was watching it the last time, this scene kind of crystallized some of my problems with Mick Jackson's direction. Is they're all like off doing stuff. Like the doctor is taking care of some guy, and Tommy Lee Jones is, I think it might have been a bit where he's on top of the fire truck. But there's a moment where I think it might be where it goes silent and then it explodes or something. Because I remember there's a really lame shot of Tommy Lee Jones and they obviously threw some fake glass on. He's like, But he's just filmed them like kind of generically with these very nondescript close-ups. And there's a bit then where it cuts to the doctor and she goes like, "Oh my God." And even the way she says it, I'm like, come on, man. This is your trailer moment. Get a proper shot in there, get a nice background, choose your lens properly, and have her say, like, I bet you remember the bit in Titanic where Kathy Bates goes, "God almighty." Yeah. Because James Cameron was like, no, this is important. The shot, I can't remember the shot exactly, but I remember that moment. I think
it's when it starts to fucking...
Yeah, I remember that moment because it is an oh my God moment. And then in this film, it's like, did she say that when we were filming that? As if like, you could just tell he wasn't putting a lot of thought into it. Now, it's hard to find any details about the film online. It wasn't particularly successful, and I don't think it's that. I did manage to find, there's a video interview with him on YouTube. And he does basically say, yeah, we filmed about 30, 40 setups a day. And the interviewer goes, "Oh, that's a lot." And he goes, "Yeah, it's a lot. But I think the energy of a film feeds into it. You know, if it was quick to make, it was quick." And I was like, oh, like it, look, the proof is in the pudding. Like, which is a better disaster film? Literally any Roland Emmerich film. Titanic is essentially a disaster film. But that, to me, is like, no, you take your time with these things. That shot of the doctor should have been like, it's
a set piece. Like,
it's as important as the special effects, because that's what sells it, you know.
Yeah.
And he if you watch it back, it is just like her with like a black background. Like there's not even lava or anything in the background of it. It's just a generic shot. She's a good actress. She could have said it better. It struck me as we were filming for 5 minutes and then she said that at the end, whereas it should be, this is a shot where you say, "Oh my God," and it's really important, and we're going to dolly in on you, whatever. And that to me is, and a lot of the things, like even in this scene, but it really bothers me later on, was I can kind of get the feeling of it's very stagey. Like the guy in the car, like the journalist. Now I find the character kind of annoying.
I think he's meant to be annoying. Yeah, see, that's probably...
I don't ever get a sense that everything is kind of tied and linked together. When there's a shot of him, I get a feeling, I don't know why, I just get a feeling of like, yeah, I just get the feeling of there's emptiness behind the camera. Like this is just like a little thing that they set up, and I didn't get a sense of he's over here, they're over here, they're like I didn't get a sense of everything's chaotic, happening at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just, again, I have to put it down to weak direction. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's just not his wheelhouse here.
So obviously we also see here just at some stage here like the metro crashes.
Yes, we're kind of introduced to a new character in the train driver, who we come to deeply care for and be very grateful that a man was sacrificed.
Valente Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Who, for anybody who doesn't know, I knew I recognised him from somewhere. He's the judge in the end of a film called Instant Family. Mark, it's very good.
Okay.
But he's because I was watching it.
He's fine. Like, I was making fun of it there, but like, there's nothing wrong with the actor. But but
there's
like,
no reason. We'll get to it in a second. We won't spoil it just yet.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no reason why anybody would do what's about to happen. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But So this also leads to Stan watching basically what's happened. Everybody's kind of the film kind of gets very chaotic here because it's cutting between the OEM offices. It's back on Wilshire Boulevard. Then it also cuts to Stanley Avenue or whatever it's called, where the black people live. And
there's
chaos going on there.
Completely forgot about that whole.
When we get to it, we'll explain the whole lot. But
that guy's the worst actor in the whole film.
Stop, man.
Jesus Christ.
But,
no, he's not. The kid is worse. Sorry.
Yeah. But we get to Stan, and then Stan goes, "We're going down there." Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So Stan takes it upon himself.
He's a bit more of a
as if in that situation, I don't give a shit. I know it's a film, right? And I know we have to switch our brains off, especially in a disaster film, even a good one. But fuck me, there's no way he's sitting here and he's like, "I'm going down there."
It did that wouldn't be his job.
The only thing
there's
is,
no question there.
But the only thing is, which is again I'm becoming a writer as an audience member. If it was a case where there was even a second where he went, "I was warned about this, and I didn't. I have to go down there."
That's a good rewrite. I like that.
But they fucking completely miss it, and he just goes, I'm going down there.
I thought that was actually, I really like the actor, and I think I kind of cut them some slack in that I always have a problem with movies where like you're like, is this guy a good guy or a bad guy or whatever, and then they do something where you're just like, oh, the film has just decided this guy is a fucking arsehole. So I always like it when a character you're not sure of kind of goes the good way.
Yeah.
But I think your way would be way better. Like it would at least
just
make
a
it more
shot,
plausible,
even a thought, like that.
Absolutely.
So obviously, what's happening at the same time as all this chaos is going on Wilshire Boulevard, and we're learning about the metro. Is Anne Hesh has now escaped the tunnel. She's very upset.
Suit,
she's very upset over her friend dying, and now she comes out onto a street where everybody's looting. Now, I think this is a very funny moment, right? Because she puts her oxygen tank and everything up in the car, and then someone runs by and grabs it.
I didn't know that. That is funny.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Because, and do you know what I found very funny? And forgive me, but they're very sure to make sure that there's plenty of white people looting the shops.
Well, the film was some kind of, even saying half-assed is giving it too much credit, like attempt to, like we'll get into this with the truly disgraceful fucking thing they do at the end, but it was apparently some kind of an attempt to comment on Los Angeles at the time.
Because there's a lot of stuff that's happening. Like we've mentioned this a couple of times.
5 years after the LA riots, give or take, I want to say. And yeah, I'm surprised they put any looting in there at all. But
we've pointed this out in a couple of films like Die Hard and stuff. Is about a lot of these 90s films have these fucking racial undertones, and maybe it is all to do with Rodney King and the LA riots. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's touched upon here. But I did notice that I think there's one black man looting in the whole street, and I'm sorry to anybody, but that is probably not realistic.
Like, I mean, it's not even that, like, it's just like if you're in LA, like that's
Jesus Christ, like,
it's very. What images are they?
It's very eggshelly trying to explain a point that you have when it comes to that.
What images are they trying to evoke to kind of, I suppose, draw on there? And we all know what that is. It was the LA riots, and there was all this stuff happening. But yeah, it is arse cover, and this is why I actually brought this up for anyone who doesn't watch all the episodes. I work in a school. And I was telling, because, you know, like people are like, oh, what did they mean by this joke? And I was like, to be fair, you kind of, if you're making a movie and you can't say, oh, I didn't think of it. Because I was telling them about a scene in Collateral where Tom Cruise comes along, where remember the bit where Jamie Foxx is tied up and these guys, three white guys come along. And I was like, now, why is it 3 white guys in LA? It's because they didn't want Tom Cruise shooting 3 black guys. But I was like, but they were thinking about that. So when a film does do something that you could take as being racially insensitive, you kind of have to be fair and say, well, lads, you had every fucking opportunity to think ahead and think how this would be received. So you can't really claim if we didn't put the thought into it, because, you know, if they weren't thinking in Collateral, they're just like, well, it'd be 3 black guys, right? He's in downtown. I know fuck all about LA, whatever area they would have been in. But they take the time to make these decisions. So then when they can't really then say, oh, we never thought of it. It's like, yeah, you fucking did. I bet. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have a character of this race do something to this character of this other race without thinking about it. So don't give me that fucking bullshit. But yeah, it is very interesting that they wanted to eat their cake and have it too, as the Unabomber would say. That's a deep cut.
One thing I want to point out as well, just a bit of an aside. what fucking really offends me here is all the firefighters, fucking brave men trying to fight these fires. Not once does the water from the fucking hose that they're shooting touch anywhere that it's meant to. They're fucking like this, firing up in the air.
You know, I don't think you ever even see it hit the lava. Now that I think
but that's what I'm saying. Like, they're like this. And
Jeez,
they're battling a fire that's right in front of them, and it's like this. And
I did notice it when they were doing it later. Like, open. I'm like, sure, you're fucking shooting it 30 feet away with that, Jesus. Yeah.
And it's right in front of them.
Yeah. Sorry, just while we were getting slightly political there, because why the fuck not? I also found an interview with Anne Heche online about this, and I found it very interesting. There's a bit in it where, you know, the interview was a bit of a puff piece kind of a person. I just love this film. It's one of the best disasters, and you were amazing at it. And Anne Heche goes. She essentially says something like, yes, great. I think they're finally starting to write good characters for women, unlike all the bullshit we've had to. She doesn't literally say that, but she basically says it like, after all the nonsense we've had to do for years. Can you fucking imagine if she did that today? Like, your one Snow White, a film that no fucking man baby over 25 was even ever going to go see. And she doesn't fucking say the original was the best film she's ever seen, and she's fucking raked over the coals.
Yeah.
Can you imagine it? No one even fucking noticed it. Like, it's just...
Because nobody was there. Because at the end of the day, let's call a spade. Nobody was listening to women at that stage.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Now, you could maybe say it's a bit of an OTT statement, like, surely there were some good roles for women. But at the same time, you're just like, yeah, well, she's an actress. She reads the shit that's going in. This film is fucking terrible as well, by the way. But, you know... I was just saying, like, how times have changed. Like, she'd be the fucking critical drinker that made a video on her, Ben Shapiro, our best mate on this thing. Jordan Peterson would probably chime in. Who the fuck knows? It's just the times have changed is all I can say. And maybe for the better, because this film sucks. But I just thought I'd bring it up because it just kind of speaks to where we are today, you know?
Right, so obviously then they're trying to come up with a way of trying to fight this lava.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do have to say, I'll give them credit. Dante's Peak is a disaster film where you're waiting for the thing, because Dante's Peak is an explosion film. The volcano at the end of that just blows up. Now, there's other stuff leading up to it. It is clever in this film to make it a lava volcano, because you can hype, I don't know, but I have the feeling watching it, you could do something here. Whereas in Dante's Peak, there's literally nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So I'll give it credit for that. Like, that was a smart decision. Whether it's successful...
Because essentially, because it happens relatively early in the film that the eruption happens in the La Brea tar pits.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I genuinely don't know what anybody would be able to do in this style of film if we didn't get an early eruption. Like,
yeah.
So obviously the lava is flowing down.
It would just kind of immediately happen. Yeah.
So the lava is flowing down La Brea, or from the La Brea tar pits down Wilshire Boulevard. And so we're probably jumping a big chunk. We're going to condense a big chunk of film here because I think we just need to get to... Obviously, what they've decided is they'll flip the bus.
Yeah.
So Tommy Lee Jones gets this idea. Hang on, we might be able to...
kind of block it or
have it flow a different way.
Rechannel it, I think is what I want to say.
And so they decided to flip a bus. Now, here's one of the many here's moments. Here, Jesus, lads. If you haven't seen one up until this point. So he requests the cops shoot out the tyres. Why on God's green earth does it take 8 policemen to shoot out 2 tyres?
Fucking like they empty the clip as well. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I was wondering with that, were they aping the scene in Independence Day? Do you remember the scene where they go, is that glass bulletproof? No, that was a badass scene, but it made sense why they'd all be shooting the guns. With this, I remember like, wouldn't one bullet be enough? Like,
one bullet in each
and then
wheel.
I'm like, I suppose there's some kind of logic to it, but I'm like, would that really help you flip over a bus? Like, if the tires are out, I suppose it would. It wouldn't hurt now, I'll say that.
Because you see, because one thing that I do think was quite... Because there's another couple of minutes of talking about what they're going to do, because this is when the Anne Heche character and Tommy Lee Jones character are talking about something.
They kind of team up from this point.
But you see in the background... The lads are like, and it's obviously a struggle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then they finally get it over, and it turns out that it works. That it's actually channeling which is a bit weird for me because the way it's flipped on the wheel side. So the problem with this is, right, now I know a bus is a big, heavy machine, but up until this point, we've seen loads of shots of cars being fucking taken away and just with the flow, and just apparently this big heavy bus doesn't do it.
Yeah, I think it's all very contrived. They just wanted that bit on the ladder with the two of them hanging off of it. Yeah, now
because what happens then is obviously they have to save someone, and
as annoying as the daughter is now, I have to say this man that they save by going on the ladder is second only to that little kid. Because they doesn't even get a close up on him, so he just comes off as this fucking gobshite who nearly kills them like that. I'm like, why are they wasting their time trying to save this gobshite's life? So they go and get him, but nearly exactly the same thing as earlier happens with him and his daughter.
They get trapped.
They get trapped. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you need the suspense, and it is. Like it's a good premise for a suspense scene. My problem is they don't humanize the guy on the thing. So when so they're hanging on, and there's like the hose is on fire, and the fucking guy on top is like getting burned up. Presumably his dick's gonna have 3rd-degree burns on it or whatever. But he's like kicking, nearly killing him. But he's just this faceless kind of fucking gobshite, and they're hanging on like ah.
And it must be just pointed out they would be dead. If they were hanging off that close.
They would have boiled up. Like the fucking liquid in their eyeballs would be boiled. Yeah. But look, that is the kind of stuff doesn't matter a fuck. There's a certain amount of tension that I found myself when I was watching it, kind of like, oh, it's a good premise. But whether it's perfectly executed,
And this is the part where I mentioned the speed of the lava. This, because you see them literally step up off the ladder and it flows like it's quick, so they step up and it's letting you know that if they were a split second more, right, then we don't see the lava flow for another 10 minutes, but nothing moves.
Yeah, because they just drop at the end of it, and you're like, oh, they did. And but they're meters away.
Yeah, and it's still flowing that quick. Well, then that means that we have 5 seconds before we have to move all these people out of here. So the speed that you have to accept that the lava is changing.
I mean, well, that kind of stuff I don't have a huge issue with. Like that is just kind of movie magic, Now, like,
obviously, after the bus is successful, he goes, okay, I know what we'll do. K-rails, the traffic stuff.
Yeah. Now, just to point out here, because it occurred to me when talking about the bus thing, they make a point at the start of the film. There's actually text at the start of the film saying the name of this organization, which is Office of Emergency Management. Yeah. They make a point of they're essentially in charge of the whole thing.
Everything.
And then essentially later on, he just goes to the cops, hey, do this. And they kind of go, who are you? And he just goes, just do it. I was like, well, did we really need that spiel at the start? You didn't need it. Like, I just found it funny. They obviously felt like, oh, will people be asking why they're doing what he's telling them? Like, well, he obviously knows what he's some kind of a government official, and he knows what he's doing. Like, you don't really need any more than that.
So obviously they're ordering in the K-rails, but they're not going to be here in time. So he comes up with the plan on the spot. We're going to dig up the street, even though this lava is flowing at what's clearly like 6 knots an hour. Like, do you know what I mean? It's coming at you quick. So somehow within as soon as he says we're going to dig up the street and cause a trench, they have a digger. They have forklifts.
Yeah, things happen very quickly. Yeah. Is it around this time that they introduce Keith David as the
Yes,
cop?
He just jumps out of the car.
He just fucking shows up. And he's a huge
part for the rest of the film.
I knew who he was. They must have cut out stuff with him because he just comes out of nowhere.
Do you know what I always thought? Because he's the fucking police lieutenant.
Yeah.
But throughout the film, Don Cheadle is talking to the police lieutenant. I know.
And by the way, all this time, John Cheadle's at the office he's good at it, and you need that kind of thing to show the scale of the disaster.
And he's the one who's actually, because we have to remember though, because it does make sense, he's the one who's actually every idea that Tommy Lee Jones has, he's organised.
Said it, yeah. Like, and again, to speak about the scale of it, my problem is, like, they just stay at this location and for like 12.
But it's almost the entire second act of the film.
Yeah, it is. When you look at Independence Day, which was a few years before this, and the scale of like what they pulled off and the locations in it and all the multiple characters, and I think this maybe cost more money, I guess, maybe for inflation. I was like, how the fuck? Now they built Wilshire Boulevard. There's a making of Volcano on YouTube, and I remember seeing it back in the day. They built that entire city block, and I can only if I may be so bold, that maybe wasn't the best decision of the way to spend your money, because I have to imagine it cost fuckloads of money and you're tied to just being there. I don't know. I just really felt I was amazed rewatching it this time at how limited it was. Like it's basically the lava's in 3 places. It's like shouldn't this be all of like it felt like it should be more of a citywide kind of a thing. Apparently LA is like 10 cities all put together or something.
Yeah,
it's
it's
kind of
massive.
confusing, yeah. I really felt a limit in the scale there. Which and they didn't even film it in true widescreen or however. There's some snob now going, well, actually, they didn't film it in CinemaScope or 2.4 to 1 or whatever you want to say. They filmed it in 185, the spherical aspect ratio. See, I know my stuff. Which I find to be a bizarre decision for a large-scale disaster film with multiple characters. Like, isn't the first thing you do... It could be a special effects thing. I don't know. But I know Independence Day was filmed in that ratio. Dante's Peak was, if I'm not mistaken. I thought it was a bad decision.
Yeah.
Just film it in CinemaScope.
So I think it's time to introduce to the podcast. So the character of the cop, the bald cop,
Oh, Christ on the cast, yeah.
who's clearly fucking... Because Rodney King is mentioned.
Yeah, and they also mention, this is a real cultural deep dive now, Mark Furman, who was the racist cop, the alleged... or I'll just call him the racist cop involved in that. Why fucking sugarcoat these, or why obfuscate these things? He mentions that like, oh, he calls himself the Volcano Rodney King, but he also the character mentions Mark Furman, who was a cop involved in the sorry, it's a completely different incident. Rodney King was a black man beaten by the LAPD, very unjustifiably, and them being found innocent in that case triggered the LA riots. The O.J. Simpson case, there was a police officer called Mark Furman who was a lead investigator in the case, and it's all in that documentary that I referenced in the Naked Gun episode, guys. He was basically found to have
tampered with evidence or something.
No, well, that was the allegation. What he definitely did was there was a tape recording of him using horrible racist language, and they used that to discredit him. So that's what's being referred to. That was 5 minutes of a history lesson there, but he was a major cultural figure. If that doesn't sound too positive.
So what happens is, so we see at the start the racist cop and the black guy, and they get into an altercation very early in the film when they're kind of introducing themselves. So the place is on fire, but it's not only Wilshire Boulevard that's on fire. There's what could only be described as the ghetto.
Yeah,
because it's the black neighborhood. Yeah, the black neighborhood. Yeah, it's on fire, and the man goes, "Where the fuck are all the fire brigades? I don't see any fire brigades." So he ends up leaving Stanley Avenue, I believe it's called, and he joins the fight on Wilshire Boulevard.
Now, once again, this particular character is saved by that little boy, or else he would be the worst actor in this. That guy, he cannot read a line to save his life. He is fucking terrible. I don't know if it's... I'd imagine actually his entire role is post-dubbed, because apparently on a big film like this, the sound recording, even with the best in the world, it's impossible. The way he delivers practically every line of dialogue is awful. Like he just doesn't sound like a human being. How he speaks, like, oh, is that right? Oh, Jesus Christ. And it's not an accent thing, he's a shitty actor.
Yeah.
He has he's mostly a director now. He seems to have directed a lot of black audience themed movies. He has about 40. I was just thinking, like, being an actor in LA, you're gonna get gigs. He has a few gigs on like TV shows. Fucking terrible. And the other two cops are given nothing to do. I kind of half recognize.
But it's not even that. But it's I do recognize him from something.
Yeah.
But it's even just the whole thing. It's very contrived. This rate, because he basically comes down and he's asking for a fire marshal for. Can you send the fire truck down to Stanley?
There's Holmes.
Yeah.
I am not doing an accent. I'm trying to say the lines as shitty as this guy did, and I fucking can't do it. Like, he is so bad.
But what happens is, what's ridiculous and over the top is the bald cop comes over and arrests him.
Yeah, in the middle of a fucking volcano.
Yeah. But do you know what I find very funny is because Keith David then says, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, we need everybody." But then he's still in handcuffs.
Yeah.
And he's in handcuffs for a very long time.
Because they want that stupid moment where the guy takes them off, I guess.
Yeah, because obviously then, as we mentioned, the K-rails arrive.
Yeah, they're just so like, if you can imagine, they're like these huge concrete kind of divider things that you might see on
a
like
motorway
or something like that. Yeah, which is, to be fair to the film, I can believe whether they stop them or not. I don't.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's plausible.
Yeah.
Like it works well enough. They say, and then they're like, "We've 10 minutes to do this," and now. That was an here moment. I was like, come on, 10 minutes, get the fuck out of here.
And they're all struggling. So then that plot thread of the racist cop and the black guy, right? So
the black guy comes over and he's like making fun of them trying to lift it or something.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy, is it? Or something like that.
Yeah. But then the other white cop goes over and lets him off and says, go home.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then
I think that's where he makes the Rodney King thing. Yeah.
But the ball, no, he said it previously when he was getting arrested. I'm the Black Rodney, or I'm the Volcano Rodney King.
He makes some comment when he thinks he's going to come at him when but he actually wants to unlock the cuffs. Yeah. I found it stupid that he's like, go on, go home, and I was like, no, get him to fucking help you, Gov.
Yeah. Now, but what's very funny is, even though your man, the baldy fella, and he can't lift it.
It really did look heavy. The way
no, it does,
acting.
But the look of disgust on his face when his partner lets him go, and he's like, "What are you doing?"
He's so right. I will give the film credit. We're kind of jumping ahead here, but they don't close that off with the most obvious thing, which is the baldy cop and the black guy forgive each other. They both just kind of leave it like, all right, off you go. I'll give the film some credit for
even the bald guy goes, I get a fire truck down to Stanley.
He does help him with that, but they don't shake hands with that.
And there is this awkward kind of, the black fella's like this.
Yeah, that was okay.
Yeah, like because that's probably realistic.
Yeah, I think the other cop who was never as antagonistic kind of gave him a salute, like, or something. But
says good luck. He shakes his hand and says good luck.
I'll give him credit. That was okay.
This is a part where I really fucking annoyed me as well, because we're going to have to go back in time here in a second, but when the black guy gets on the fire truck and he's going down, in the space of time that he's been there, considering the chaos that was on his tree, all his family is dead.
Yeah.
They're all dead.
The place fucking ashes.
They're all dead, like.
Why did the fires even... Oh, it must have been the lava bombs.
Yeah. But so, obviously, they've got the K-rails. Yeah. They've sorted it out. And so here's what I think somewhat successfully is billed as, we're going to finish this here, we're going to sort it out.
It seems plausible enough to me, you know.
But what I mean is
suspension of disbelief.
Exactly. You go like, okay, right, so they're going to stop it here, and then this might be the climactic.
The water they can on it. Yeah.
But the way the fucking helicopters come in all out of nowhere,
and some of the effects on them are fucking terrible.
Do you remember the what's that big telescope called, the Hubble or something?
Yeah, that's how it sees other galaxies.
Yeah, but you know the pictures that it sends and they have to be re-rendered. That's what it looks like when the distance shot of the helicopters.
Some of the effects are fucking atrocious, and that is one of them.
And then when they're actually flying over, they look this size. They clearly like miniature.
Yeah. I think they hadn't quite figured out scale and all that. No, they make a big thing out of that, but I just found myself going, sure, that wouldn't be enough water. Like the fire hoses look way more formidable, and you never see it. I guess it must have been a special.
And the thing is, obviously, in this, what's part of the suspenseful, or meant to be part of the suspenseful part of the scene, is the lava hits the K rails and it begins to push them, right? And they're being told, hold with the water.
Like, what the fuck are you waiting for?
So they're standing just on the opposite side of the K rails. By the way, they'd all be dead. But they're standing like this, right? Why aren't they standing like this?
Yeah, I was like, why don't they pour water onto the ground?
Because that's where they have to get it, like.
Yeah, they don't make a thing. There's a tiny mention, but it's not made a big thing of, like, in a completely different scene. Like, they're not running low on water. And just fucking nuke the thing. Like, keep sending the fucking water. What are you waiting for, you know? And they've all the news reporters and all this. I think somewhere in here, lost in the chaos, we missed the introduction to the character I've been teasing.
Yes.
Throughout the whole thing. So...
we've missed over a big part. So obviously the doctor takes Tommy Lee Jones's daughter to see the Sinai.
And his mate Rispoli is there as well, but that's not really a big thing made of that. So the doctor's still working away. Her arsehole boyfriend shows up, says something like, leave these people, you know, you can't do anything. He really says, these people. What a racist. And she's like, no, I'm staying. And he just leaves off. You know,
he's not seen again.
Greek wedding next up. Tommy Lee Jones's daughter is put in charge of a little boy, and to say that in the history of cinema there's never been a worse performance. She's sitting at a table with him, and he's clearly dubbed over by an adult doing a kid's voice, and they're playing rock paper scissors, and he can't act anyway.
Yeah.
And then And whatever he's fighting, just replace him. Like,
I'm lava.
Yeah, and he goes.
I don't know why he has an English accent all of a sudden, but that's his.
In my memory, it's like one of those things where they replace the mouth with someone else or something. Like it's so bad. Yeah, they're dubbing him, but like literally, like the things where they like superimpose someone's mouth on a photograph or something. He's like. She goes, no, rock, and they're playing rock, paper, scissors, and she says, oh, well, I'm rock, that beats paper, and he's like, I'm not paper. This is better than I'm not paper, I'm lava.
And he says,
what stops that?
And then it cuts to his daughter, and she goes, my dad.
Yeah.
And
the cringe is, I'm sorry. It is weapons grade cringe.
If you have not had an Jesus lads moment yet, if this doesn't do it for you,
I can only imagine what happened in cinemas around the fucking world when that shit happened. Like,
they probably fucking lapped it up, but they obviously didn't because it didn't do too well. Like,
yeah, well, that I can only imagine the hooter and hollering. Like, would you fuck off of that? It is so cringe. And this is supposed to be someone later on that we're rooting for her to save. Yeah, like, oh, what a mismatch. But
we're back to Wiltshire.
Yeah, a big problem with this, I have to say, is we're describing what happens. We haven't mentioned Tommy Lee Jones or especially Anne Heche for like 5 minutes here. They essentially have fuck up. Now, it was their plan and all this, which I think is why the finale seems very contrived, because logically, what are they going to be doing? You can kind of forgive it for this bit. Because it's a group effort and all this. It did become a bit of a problem that, like, look, they're not firefighters. They're not helicopter pilots.
At some stage, they're gonna become redundant to the situation.
Yeah, they get away with it, but that's not a huge problem there. The problem is how contrived then the ending is. So I think basically they stop it. They think everything's good. They send your man off to the hood with the fucking fire engine, and then they realize, oh no, the lava's actually heading towards Tommy Lee Jones's daughter and that blonde little boy who we so want to see.
Yeah, but there's a ridiculous part that comes up. So there's this argument, but you can't go down there. Oh, well, are you going to go down there? Well, I mightn't go down there. You're going to go down there. And so they decided to put a camera where they got it from, nobody knows.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about this.
I fucking hate this part. As much as I love the film, I hate this part. Right? So they put the camera down. It clearly says the tunnel is filled with lava and it's flowing quicker than it was on Wiltshire.
It's going a mile a fucking minute.
And the flame ball comes flying up. They get thrown back. Tommy Lee Jones crawls over and puts his hand over it. What did he need to do that for? Because then he goes and he puts his hand over it for a split second. He goes,
Yeah, I remember that.
What I mean? Like, why did you do that?
His hand would be like fucking falling off.
Not only that, it's clear. You don't have to look over.
Yeah, even on the street, actually, they'd probably be boiled to death.
Yeah.
We'll get Christ on the cross. So then the whole guy, if you're wondering why we mentioned the big fat Greek wedding guy, essentially they get there and they're like, right, the lava's heading towards the hospital.
But there's nothing we can do. Anne Heche says there's nothing we can do. We have to save as many as we can.
Yeah. So then they say, hang on, we have a demolitions team here for some reason. And they say, can we blow up the street to make the sewers basically into like a funnel or a tunnel? Yeah. And then they're like, yes, let's do it. No. Is this a bit with the basketball with Anne Heche? Was that earlier?
That was previous.
Yeah, I'll give them credit. That was a nice moment where she's thinking ahead of everyone.
But what's happening is they needed to flow into like not an aqueduct, but like
but it's not going to go there.
It's not going to go that way. It's going to go. They needed to go right, and it's going to go left into all the people.
Tommy Lee Jones makes the decision because it's his daughter.
Do you know what it is actually? It's going to hit where they stop drilling in the metro. And then it's going to come up.
Yes.
And that's going to be right where the triage unit is set up outside the...
What'll happen to all those people, including his daughter?
So Anne Heche throws the towel in. Anne Heche throws the towel in and goes, we just have to save as many as we can.
Yeah.
And there's this shot of Tommy Lee Jones going... And because the whole... No, before that, there's a... Well, I don't...
Oh yeah, even he couldn't pull that off
because he's supposed to be like I don't know what to do, but it's just so like oh my god. And then the next shot is him standing at the car like this, and then the building is just directly behind them.
The really poorly rendered building.
Yeah.
Fuck. It's like it's
like a cardboard cutout.
I was gonna say it's like a still image, but it's not. It's like someone was pointing a film camera at it and their hand was shaking, and they took one of those images that was blurred. That is how bad. It's like, it's not even a still. It's like a blurry image. It is, and it's meant to be really important in the film.
Now, it needs to be pointed out here. They have got 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And it's mentioned 3 times. So the first time mentioned, they've got 10 minutes. Yeah. But a minute passes, they still have 10 minutes. Another minute or 2 passes, they still have 10
Maybe
minutes.
It was going slower than they thought.
Exactly.
Who knows? Maybe you're nitpicking. Yeah, so they've to essentially detonate an entire street to turn it into a canal.
They've successfully moved all the machinery down to the Cedar Sinai Hospital.
Correct, yes.
All the jackhammers.
As you do, yeah. And there's a demolitions team. They are just there.
It's never explained. They look like a SWAT team. It's never explained
but they're
that
demolitions team. Yeah, why would
it's never said.
Why would the LAP have a demolitions team?
But I watched that and I went, where the fuck did they get the dynamite in 10 minutes?
The guys are dressed like SWAT guys.
No, but there's a newscast or something where it's mentioned where they go, they're taking it from the National Guard Armory.
Oh, fair play. They covered that plot hole. Fair play.
But again, they have 10 minutes.
Yeah. And then they make a big fucking thing of that guy Rispoli, and remember he's trapped underneath.
How the fuck does he end up inside the building?
Yeah, they make it
because he's from OEM, isn't he?
Yeah, he's bare. Yeah, and he's in a SWAT jacket. Yeah. Why is he there? But they make it as if he's this big kind of character, and I'm like, well, he's not really. Like,
so what happens is, right? So they successfully drill holes in the street to blow it up. They're getting set up. They've all the triggers done. What happens inside is you see all the SWAT guys. There's a tremor or another earthquake or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that, yeah.
And then what happens is one of the guys gets trapped, and then the Michael Rispoli character is trying to save him. Now, what's happening in conjunction with this is the little prick.
Yeah, has run off for no fucking reason. Yeah.
And now, Tommy Lee Jones's daughter has to go and find him, and somehow she goes from the Hard Rock Cafe into.
Yeah, they're in the Hard Rock because that's
basement
like
of the building.
Set up. Yeah. Okay.
No, she walks through a door from the kitchen into the fucking basement. Do you know what I mean? So, long story short, what happens is they're about to blow up the building, and Michael Rispoli's character says, "I'll never leave a man down," and all this.
Yeah, the guy's pinned.
Yeah.
A guy he just met. He just met,
and he says he'll never leave him in.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell him to leave. That's the thing that annoys me as well. Is that if that was me, I'm saying just fucking leave.
Yeah, it's all right, mate. Actually, I just say like, come on, mate, just shoot me.
Thanks for helping. Like,
actually, no, he didn't. Neither of them had to be there. There was literally no reason. Like, it wasn't as normally they do a thing of like someone has to hold the wires together. It makes no difference. Like he could have. It wasn't like it was a break. It's just like a suicide.
Yeah,
because he didn't want to leave the.
And they tried to ham it up because obviously they're looking to see if the building's clear so they can start detonation. And they say, "Your building clear," and it's this kind of split second moment. Like, and they look at each other.
Yeah.
And then obviously the little boy is about to leave to his safety, but unfortunately he doesn't get there in time. Now, it should be mentioned as well that Anne Hesh, in a few scenes previously, was sent to look.
Yeah, and she doesn't even find her.
She doesn't find her.
She just stands on top of a car and starts shouting her name or something. She has literally nothing to do.
Yeah. And so Tommy Lee Jones, with nobody around him, do you know what I mean? Is in the perfect position to see his daughter and the little boy appear from the...
And he starts screaming at the detonations guys to murder all the people in Cedar Sinai to say, like, stop it.
And let's not forget, this is the man who let a man burn alive in the fire truck about an hour previously. Do you know what I mean?
The character's more consistent than...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, here's where if the film's not ridiculous enough already, it starts to get really ridiculous here. So they obviously start blowing everything up. It's like bang, bang, bang. And Tommy Lee Jones is obviously beelining it to try and save his daughter, right? And then we see the building is falling as he's running over. He makes it to his daughter, and now it needs to be pointed out, this stupid fucking crash zoom to Anne Hesh, who's about a fucking mile away. He was a mile away.
That was awful.
You can't see see him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even mind. It's she looks and it's.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a real stupid one.
there's like 5 shots during that bit where he's running towards them in slow motion with like the worst render, like the worst CG backgrounds you've ever seen. Like, it was 1997, but it's so fucking bad. And it's at a moment where it really needs to be good, and it is not, and it is terrible. And you don't want the kid to live. You don't want the kid or the daughter to live. And it is just weapons grade fucking cringe.
And
man.
it gets to the point, awful. Right? The entire building has landed on them.
Yeah, it's like 100 stories. They make a thing of how.
Now, to be fair, it makes sense, right? So only the 99th and the 100th story is going to land on them. Yeah. But that's still quite a lot of rubble.
Yeah, they wouldn't be doing well, yeah.
Now, Anne Hesh has seen this all happen from a fucking mile away. I cannot, even the shot, because there's a shot where it crashes down to her face and it turns to what she can see. You cannot see what she's meant to be able to see in the shot. Do you know what I mean? Now, she obviously organises a search party. And they're, Rourke, can you hear me? All this stuff. And everybody's going around panicking. And Tommy Lee Jones, I'm here. Yeah. And he just puts his hand up. He is at the very top of the rubble. So an entire building has fallen on his head. Yeah. And he has just managed to circumnavigate about 50 feet of it to end up at the top.
It's awful. Like, what they just gave up by that stage. I will say something about, we don't have to talk about it too much, but Dante's Peak, there's actually at the end of Dante's Peak, basically the same thing should happen. I don't know how well you know that.
I can't really remember.
Pierce Brosnan is like, he's running away. That's an explosion movie, so they're running away from an explosion. Pierce Brosnan like goes into a cave and hides in there, and the cave caves in. There's no other way to say it. But he manages to kick on, like it was late 90s, this kind of homing signal thing. I still occasionally think about that scene and get kind of claustrophobic because he's stuck in a car with like rubble on it, and he's just kind of like this. And in the reality of the film, he was in there for like 3 days. So they really committed to that. And it is something, maybe it's not the best way to end a fucking happy blockbuster film, but it stuck with me. Whereas at this, I'm just like, there's no logic to it. It's just pure like fucking.
And yeah,
just
let me interrupt you there, please, because he stands. Not only does is he at the top of the rubble, but nobody comes and helps him. Him himself with the child in his arms, he pushes everything out of the way, and then all of a sudden the 3 of them are up. And when I tell you the smile and the arm around the shoulder, it looks like a Poxy family photo or a vacation. It's like, and he literally has this.
It is unreal, yeah. It is now. Fair enough, Keith. I'll grant you that. However, as we both know, the film entirely redeems itself by ending racism in the next scene.
That's literally what I was going to say. Yeah. The child ends racism.
Doesn't like a cop take him or something? And he
Keith
goes,
David's character.
Is it Keith David? Jesus. And he goes,
he's like, I'm going to find your ma.
What's she look like? And he looks around and the ash has turned us all into one colour. And the kid in a beautiful, I mean, some lines will just live in eternity, says, everybody looks the same.
And then they really try really hard then to the camera pans to or shots of different characters.
Yeah.
All clearly different colours, I might add.
But matted in grey ash.
I get it.
Which has presumably killed millions, by the way.
And then obviously Mick Jackson loves segregation because the rain comes immediately.
I was thinking, like, what is the meaning then of the rain?
Yeah. Because we all know what rain in a film usually means something's about to come to light.
Now,
you know what I mean?
I swear on my life, because I reread this in some kind of stuff I tried to research. I must have seen it in some behind the scenes thing, and it was either the writer or Mick Jackson said something like, "Oh, you know, there's the tale of the city divided, and then the dragon comes, and the dragon makes everyone united, and we're kind of like fucking wanky fucking bullshit." If this is what it would take to end racism. Devil's advocate is disliking someone. Look, fuck off with this bullshit. It is horrendous. The word cringe does not even begin to encapsulate it.
It is absolutely god awful.
That kid should have been frankly physically harmed before he was let in front of a camera. It is fucking god awful, and the only thing I can say in defense of the film is it's not actually the last scene. They go out in some bullshit of Don Cheadle is the man now, and Tommy Lee Jones.
And hang on, let's the dog we mentioned at the start of this podcast somehow appears in Don Cheadle's car at no stage. So they're in the house and
home.
You see Tommy Lee Jones and his daughter leave. The dog has no way of getting to the office where Don Cheadle is.
And someone obviously thought people will remember the dog. come on, like, would you really? I mean, like, I love dogs. I have a dog myself.
But it's just ridiculous to reintroduce him like
fucking,
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yo, Maxie.
Yeah, Don Cheadle takes over. They do the joke when he's talking to the police chief again. They don't have a kiss between Anne Heche and Tommy Lee Jones. And frankly, I don't know if I would have believed it, her being in a high-profile lesbian relationship at the time. That's a callback to an earlier thing. I'm not a bigot. The final scene is they actually have the same song from Naked Gun, I Love L.A., and they just have the thing of like, there's now an active volcano in LA. I won't say we glossed over it because the film does not do enough with it, but it's something I saw people mention in reviews is they don't really do a lot with the Los Angeles setting in terms of
it's quite condensed to one part of it.
Yeah, they do that thing with the billboard, the Angeline billboard. That was a real famous billboard that some kind of eccentric had paid to have up in perpetuity. But they have the kind of black neighborhood. That's an expensive shopping street, I guess, the La Brea Tar Pits. But in terms of like, a film like Die Hard with a Vengeance that captures the spirit of a city, I didn't get much of it. Now, some of it could be they built it themselves, but they didn't do much with it. Like, you would think there'd be, I don't know, like fucking people being evacuated. This is completely off the top of my head and it's fucking terrible, but a bunch of rich women being evacuated from a plastic surgery fucking thing or something. Or they do have a little bit with do you remember the little newscast about like the animals who are being evacuated? Yes. That was like, it's shit because it comes out of nowhere and it doesn't go anywhere, but it is kind of a sign of like a different film you could do, like, like kind of taking the piss out of. Is it, look, we all love animals, but isn't it kind of ridiculous to do a news report on this when, people are boiling to death on, fucking whatever, the main shopping street. But that does take us to the end of the film from 1997 called Volcano. I was trying to think of, can I attach the word classic with any kind of modifying statement to it? I don't think so, but I don't think it's a forgotten film either.
I don't think so either.
I think it's a film. I would call it a remembered film.
Yeah.
It's certainly not one. I think Dante's Peak, to be fair, is one that people go, what's that? Whereas this,
you remember
it's called Volcano, and Tommy Lee Jones, and Anne Heche. Dante's Peak is I think it's a little better. In my memory, anyway, I didn't get a chance to rewatch it in close proximity, but it's a little less memorable. So I'd have to give this kind of points for that. Yeah.
Now, obviously, at this stage of the podcast, we talk about non-submersible units.
What makes the film still live in the consciousness?
Yes. Now.
Yes, sir.
What do you think is a non-submersible unit for this film?
Can I let you go first, Keith? Because I think I think my one is so good.
The non-submersible unit, if I was to, based on how we've given them out so far, and based purely subjectively in my own opinion, I think Anne Heche is very good in this film.
Oh, nice.
I know she's maybe introduced a bit shittily, and there's at times there's not much for her to do, but there's some real scenes I find where the character I just really like her, and I like how she plays her. And that's something that I always, just about everything, because as stated, like, I do love this film, but it is shit. And she is probably the only shining light in it. She's maybe John Carter Lynch's character. I do like his character, how he dies.
Oh my god, we didn't even talk about that. Oh my god. Yeah, very quickly, I guess. It is fucking ridiculous.
Like, this is...
we skipped it because it has nothing to do with Anton.
No.
The film is obviously trying to be an ensemble thing, and it just kind of fails at that. But he's in a train carriage rescuing the train driver who we've grown so attached to, and the lava's gone under the train carriage, somehow not boiled him to death, but we'll skip over that.
Well, his shoes are melting to the...
Yeah, that's true, yeah, and he's saying Hail Mary for great, which was a nice touch, although his lips clearly aren't moving in half of the shots, and it's that shitty fake slow motion thing. So what happens is, I'll try and describe this, if anyone's forgotten it or whatever. The lava has made it to... Like, he'd have to jump over the lava to get out of the train tracks, and he's carrying the guy, and he obviously can't do it, and all of his friends are like, drop him, just save yourself. Some of them literally say, save yourself. But our boy decides to jump into the lava, Melt down to about his knees, and then throw the train driver.
Now, there's a very funny shot.
Have the strength to throw.
No, but because it's clearly a fucking rag doll that he's thrown.
Yeah,
It's it's not done well enough.
That didn't bother me.
And then it's
Yeah, I will give it credit.
And do you know what I like? Because
Yeah.
he's alive right up into the chest.
That's a nice detail. He just dies at a certain point. Like, that was obviously like the body switched off. I'm told on IMDb it's in the trivia that he gives a thumbs up, as in the Terminator 2 thing. And there is a shot where you can't really, it's a shot of like his arm with like flames in front of it that isn't in the film for no reason because there's no information in it. Maybe if you freeze framed it, you might see the thumbs up, but you can't really see it. But it is a memorable moment, I'll give it that.
It's the most useless fucking death
it
ever.
is so fucking stupid.
It's just melodramatic, and it's meant to make. But I remember watching that because I have fond memories of watching that and thinking, "Oh my god, what a selfless act!" Like,
fair play.
What a well
There's
done
something
scene
about it that kind of half works in a camp kind of funny way. He's a great actor, actually, that guy. So maybe he kind of carries it. But fuck me, what am I? Thank Christ we remembered to talk about that. Okay. For me, the non-submersible unit would be it's the lava. When I think of the film, I think of the lava, and it hasn't really been in any other film like that. It is. They were talking a lot in the behind the scenes, like, oh, it's a great villain. I don't know that it is. It's a great visual, though. And they do it. That's the one effect that it consists.
It's like all the money went on the lava and not on anything else.
And it is like, it could have been done a lot better, but the visual of it really sticks with me. And when I think of this film, that's the poster for it has the lava, and it's not even, there's no actors on it. And it did have a good tagline, this movie, the coast is toast, which I remember, which is a solid one. We should mention that this was part of a kind of a trend in the late 90s of incredibly similar films being released at around the same time.
Yeah.
So there was this and Dante's Peak, 2 Volcano movies, and then the other big one was Deep Impact and Armageddon, the asteroid hitting Earth movies. I think there were a few others, but they kind of escaped me. And this was second to the box office. Apparently they rushed Dante's Peak, but I don't think either one of them did that well, particularly. But obviously, I would have to say, in the long run, the marathon that is life, this one has won because I think it is just as simple as it has that quick, simple visual of the lava, whereas Dante's Peak is an explosion movie, basically.
Now, if you were to give it a rating,
I give it a 2, honestly.
I have to be very careful.
Are you gonna? This has happened before, folks. And like I said, something was pure shite, and then he loved it, and then I gave it a higher fucking rating.
Right, I'm gonna plead the fifth almost and give it 2 ratings.
I think that's absolutely good.
This film is 1 star.
Mm-hmm.
This film is also 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
This is fan-fucking-tastic, and I recommend if you're someone who likes a certain amount of realism or a certain amount of which you wouldn't be wrong for wanting, let me point that out. But if you're able to switch your brain off like proper and just not really get bogged down in the finer details of things, you can get so much enjoyment out of this.
So is it in a camp kind of a level? That
I wouldn't go camp. I wouldn't say camp,
like a ridiculous kind of a
almost absurd. Because like I said at the very start, from when that dog goes over and licks the fucking scalding hot frying pan, I was able to just go.
Now,
and
to take a scene that I just find awful and makes me want to curl up in a ball, the scene where he rushes over to save his daughter, and when I talk about it, I'm trying to place this in my head. The way I talk about it now, where I'm kind of laughing about it and how ridiculous it is that your experience of watching it in the moment?
When I originally watched it?
Yeah. Or how you watch it now, say.
When I watch it now, I get completely this is fucking ridiculous. Like,
okay, but you enjoy it. I watch that, and I don't actually enjoy watching it. I just find it bad. But when I talk about it, I remember it, like, oh, how shit the effect is, and how annoying the kid is. But in the moment of watching it, I don't. I'm just like, I wish I were watching something.
I know
else.
what you mean. See, this would probably be one of the outliers in terms, because I don't think a film can be so bad it's good in general. But this, for some reason, in the lexicon of my mind, is so bad it is good.
Fair enough. On that bombshell.
On that bombshell.
It's an interesting one, yeah. It's a film I'd remembered, and it was an interesting one to talk about. I was hoping, I was terrified that you actually genuinely loved it, and I'd be shitting on it. But oh, thank God we found our peace with that. Yeah, we'll get to an argument someday. I didn't want to die on the hill of Volcano. But, you know what I mean? So
that's
not a contradiction.
Thanks very much for listening again, and
thanks, guys.
Any feedback or anything you have, let's just assume at this stage, by the time this comes out, there's been loads of feedback. So thanks very much for that.
Appreciate it. Yeah. What was your favorite Dante's Peak or Volcano? Have you seen the film? Was it one you grew up watching? Did anyone grow up rewatching Dante's Peak? That'd be interesting. Maybe they have a similar thing for it. And what film would you like us to cover next? Yeah. And thanks very much for watching, guys.
And make sure you follow us all on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that stuff. New episodes every single Tuesday.
Yeah, like, subscribe, and please share with your friends if you think they'd enjoy it.
Thank you, guys. Word of mouth means the world. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.